We'll start by you taking a couple of minutes or more. We have 15 minutes altogether, and you're better in maths than me probably, so it will be easy, to tell me what's your vision, how and in what you decide to invest. Go for it. Noam.
Okay, hi. First of all, I want to thank you for choosing to be here. It's probably because you don't know that in the other room, the other conference is maybe one of the only rooms in Basel with an air condition. So thank you. Before I answer, I'm sorry, I want to link what I said to what we've heard today. This room, everyone was talking about impact. Excuse me. On the business side, I chair the largest textile company in Israel, and actually one of the largest in the world. We sell underwear to almost a lot of the big department stores and retail chains in the US and Europe, so there's a good chance that many of you are actually sitting on my underwear. I won't ask you to show me, but maybe later. But the reason I'm saying is that this company was founded by my father in the 70s, and I want to argue that this is an impact company, because when it was founded in the 70s, it was one of the first companies to open factories in the Galilee, to employ people in the Galilee, many Druze, Arabs, and Jews, of course. And later on, after the peace agreement with Egypt, a couple of years later, Delta, was the name of the company, opened factories in Egypt, and even today, we are the largest textile company in Egypt. And Silvan, you mentioned that culture, or when people see other faces of Israel, it brings people together. And it's the same. Egyptians know that this is an Israeli company. And even when there was the Islamic movement was ruling Egypt, they allowed us to continue working because it's economically also good for them. This is the way to bring ties together. And now, so this was impact. And now, as I was fortunate to be born in a family that doesn't have any economic concerns. And I think it's our obligation, people like Shira and myself, to give back. This is why we do philanthropy. And so my father was an entrepreneur back in the 70s, and also today there are entrepreneurs, and a lot of, we talk about Startup Nation, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, mostly in high-tech, and you get to see them more and more doing philanthropy in Israel.
But one sentence before we move on to Shira. You do mainly go to education and put your money, efforts, etc. there, right?
Yeah, my foundation is focusing on education and shared society. And we talked about impact. It's very important to continue to have impact organizations, impact companies, and a lot of investments in impact. It's sustainable. It eventually will become self-sustainable. But there are issues where you need philanthropy. Education is one of them.
So, Shira, we move on to you. And the Ruderman Foundation mainly deals with people with disabilities, strengthening the relationship between Israel and the American Jewish community, and modeling the practice of strategy philanthropy worldwide. So behind those headlines, what's in it?
So I want to start also with thank you, because for me to be here and with the Association of Leadership and Herzl in particular, it's not something I take light. And when we speak about impact, there are many ways to maybe measure impact, but impact for me and for the Ruderman Family Foundation means scale. You need a critical mass. We cannot create impact in small. And you heard Silvan, I'm sorry. You heard Silvan and you heard Noam, and I think that we philanthropists today, we like to refer to ourselves as investors. We invest in people. First of all, in people. You cannot invest in ideas if there are not right people behind it, because people make things happen. And the way we chose to invest, other than the areas that you mentioned, it's through the method of entertainment. We understand the power of the screen, of the entertainment world, when we choose to tell a story and how we tell the story and who watches the story makes a huge difference. Sometimes we spend hours and years, we do it for over 20 years, in creating services that touch, and they're crucial services, but they touch a small number of people. But if you have, as you mentioned, massive scale of people that tell different narratives, that tell your story without to fight you, that they speak diversity and inclusion and understand that anti-Semitism is something that we can combat, but also sometimes in public and sometimes in silent through showing up. Money can be powerful if you use it towards your values and ideology. And I think we choose to use the money not just because we want to do good, because we understand that we have the power to change. We cannot do it alone, and I think it's important to understand. We as philanthropists see ourselves as partners. We are not here, at least us, to replace governments. We are not here to replace the public sector or the nonprofit sector. We are partners. We are social change agents that understand that we can do it together. However, and I'll conclude here to say that philanthropy is much more sophisticated today. It's not by cutting checks and giving money. It's about pulling your sleeves. I think we invest our time as much as we invest our money. We are sacrificing, being in the public and being criticized by everyone in social media and in other places for the sake of the state of Israel, for the Jewish people. And I think if you have values and you believe in yourself, you're not afraid to do that.
So I'll take for a second the commentator's freedom to add one thing to the brilliant things you've said. The social media brings terrible things that we all see and share, and it enlarges bad things, and it brings fake news, and we suffer a lot as Jewish people, as Israelis, etc., and as human beings. But it brings a lot of opportunities, and if you know to use it, for example, you spoke of Sylvan Adams. Without social media, it was much more difficult, nearly impossible to reach billions of people. So there is a huge opportunity in that if you know to use it properly. And I think combining the Jewish minds, especially Startup Nation, within the technology side to what you're doing could bring brilliant new ideas and expanding all the good things you're doing. But you spoke of the upsides. I want to ask you about the downsides, because not everything is good and brilliant, and obviously we showed a nice face. But let's speak about the challenges, because there are so many within Israel and outside of Israel. We just heard a lecture speaking of, the problem of the Jewish people. And we're losing Jewish people, and I can give hundreds of examples. So let's speak about the challenges in your eyes.
Sure, I can talk about the challenges that we in the foundation decided to focus on. As I mentioned, education and shared society. Education is the tool. We believe that education is the basis for everything. And shared society in Israel meaning how we can live together, Jews and Arabs, ultra-Orthodox, secular and religion, with the differences. And that's what we want to educate people about. And it's definitely a big, big challenge, And I want to add to what Shiraz mentioned before. We, in addition to what she said, two other things that are very important we actually took maybe from the business experience. One is collaboration. Everything that we do together. Actually, Shira and me are also partnering in a very important organization that promotes philanthropy in Israel. And the other one, we also collaborate with the government. We don't replace the government. We collaborate with the government, and that by itself is very, very challenging. But it's not because we want to, pull the government to a certain direction. We actually want to collaborate with them. And for that the Israeli government is actually the #1 financial contributor to the NGOs in Israel. The NGOs, the third sector for the government is also a tool. So collaboration here is mutual.
Shira?
I see many, many challenges, and I want to take it one step above the day-to-day challenges. First of all, I don't think we have a shared vision these days. We are all sitting here, and we are in the most inspired moment. But we, my friends and colleagues, do not have a shared vision. We do not have a vision to work together towards for the next 125 years. We're sitting here to celebrate someone's vision to create the state of Israel We have a state of Israel, and it is flourishing, and it is the most amazing place for Jews. But what is our shared values and our shared vision of today? We do not have. I'm not quite sure that we as Jewish people speak the same language at times when it comes to values. So my number one challenge when I think about strengthening the relationship with world Jewry and American Jewry in particular is, first of all, we have to look inside. We cannot criticize each other all the time, not because we are wrong, because with criticism, you cannot go far. You have to also take actions to create a common language. So we need a vision, which we don't have. We need a common language, which we don't have. And I do not refer to a spoken language. Hebrew or English, and Hebrew should be the language we refer to. But when I'm talking about values, we do not, as Jewish people today, share the same values. That's aside from our day-to-day challenges, which we have many. So I want to just say that in the world of where we come from, in the Ruderman Feiling Foundation, we believe that sectors should work together. We believe that ego should be aside. And my friends, we have so much ego in the work we do, too much. And I speak as an investor and philanthropist that I would say that today, the more money we have on the table, and we have because wealth is growing, the more ego we have. The more ego we have, the less we can create impact and work together. And if you all want to see impact, you should look at the numbers. Scale, worth, impact. We need big scale. We need our people together. We need to work together in ways that cooperation is not the only way to do it. It means to be brave, to close certain things, to merge, to work in tight budgets, and to start working for our own people.
So, before we finish, you see the time as I do, and you know, we all work for the clock at the end of the day, especially in my profession. Half a minute to each one of you. Your children, grandchildren, to someone who created the State of Israel. If I would have asked you about our children or grandchildren, what vision, what state, what future do we want to leave for them? Or to create for them, that's a better word.
I think we need to change the path we're going today. The segregation, the differences, the fact that there's no respect for different values. In one word, democracy. We need people to understand, we need Israelis to understand that democracy is, if you ask an average child or even grown up in Israel, what's democracy, would say majority rules. But that's not democracy. Democracy is actually minority rights. And respect the fact that there are minorities with different views. I think this is what we have to focus on in order for the Israeli society to remain also in 50 years from now.
I'll rephrase you shortly. The main problem, I'm working as a defense correspondent for decades, and whenever I'm being asked in lectures in Israel and outside, what's the main challenge ahead of Israel, and everybody refers to Iran and all the problem, I always say the main problem of Israel is Israel and Israelis. If we will solve all our internal problem within ourselves, Jewish people, etc., no one can beat us in the world. Shira, your words.
To that, in the light of what Noam said, I would like to leave to our kids and our grandkids two messages. One, that Israel is a country for all its citizens, and we all know what does it mean and how we need to work. But the other thing, which is not, it's like a complement and goes side by side, Israel is the homeland of the Jewish people by all means, and we all responsible for that in order to make it strong and fruitful.
Shira Ruderman, Noam Lautman, thank you so much for being with us today.